Welcome to this week's X's and O's podcast show, hosted by your boy Hayward. Week 5, beat down to the Minnesota Vikings against the Philadelphia Eagles. Hard loss to digest. A game that was definitely winnable, but Minnesota Vikings showed that they wanted the game a little bit more. They was more in a dire circumstance than the Philadelphia Eagles. And that injury bug just keep on biting us on the butt. With news today, just a couple of minutes ago, coming out that Jay Ajayi is out for the season with a torn ACL. Major hit to our running backs, even though I feel as though Doug Peterson went and utilizing our running backs and running the ball like we needed to do. But can't complain. We can just keep our head up and hope that this team can recapture that winning way that they had. You know, I'm not going to refer back to last year because last year is last year. This is a new team, a new attitude, a new direction. You know, we as fans, we get overcritical sometimes about players. You know, Jalen Mills, Jason Peters is not having a great move. It's obviously a lot of that offensive line is pretty banged up, trying to play through injuries, and you know that all-out effort is not there. So we have to bear with it. Hopefully, we can weather this storm to make the playoffs. Right now, it's looking like a 10-6 record. But the key for the Philadelphia Eagles is to win the division. We need to beat the Giants 2 times. We need to beat the Cowboys 2 times. And we need to beat the Redskins 2 times. Point blank. So, after the 23-21 loss to the Minnesota Vikings, we know what the goal is. But could the Philadelphia Eagles capture that magic, capture that physical playing style that they played with, capture the passion that they need to go out here and take it one game at a time and show the rest of the league that they are the team that they need to be? So, let's dive into my last week keys of the game that I posted on a One Team Bird Nation website last week. My first key was blocking. I gave the Eagles a C. I was going to give them a D, but I understand the effort. They are limited because it's a lot of players that's banged up on that offensive line. 2, eliminating the mental mistakes and penalties. I gave the Philadelphia Eagles a D. We saw the mental mistakes. We saw a team that made crucial mistakes in the clutch. Fourth quarter drives, there's no way in the world we should be getting illegal formations, penalties. That was a killer. Then Carson Wentz, you're in the grasp of a defender. Take the sack. If you wanted to throw the ball away, you should have scrambled out of the pocket and threw the ball, got out of the tackle box and threw the ball out of bounds. These are mental mistakes. These are things that you are coached up on that you shouldn't even be making. But when you're trying to knock the rust off, these are the things that can cost you games. Mental mistakes, the penalties, turning the ball over. 3 was the O-line and defensive line cleaning their play up. I'm going to say I give them both a D in effort. I didn't see the pressure that we normally put on teams. The gameplay, I don't know. Maybe teams just adapted to the Philadelphia Eagles styles, or maybe it's because we missing Tim Jernigan inside that middle that helped Fletcher Cox cave in the pocket. But we are missing that pass rush bad. And with Derek Barnett being out last week, the effort went in there. And then we have a referee making a call on a good sack that he was obviously blocked into Michael Bennett was actually blocked into the quarterback. I feel as though anytime a defensive end is coming full speed and the tackle is still engaged with the defensive player, there's no way in the world that he can regain his balance and he's being blocked from behind or from the side. He rolls up on the quarterback and he should get a penalty for that. I don't know the rules. I really don't understand the definition of why that was a penalty yesterday, but that was a very costly penalty yesterday for the Philadelphia Eagles. Offensive line, like I said, we the walking wounded. It's like a mass unit up there. In wartime, sometimes we got to suck it up and give teams our best gameplay. These next couple of games are some very key games to give these teams your best shot. Okay, I said 4 was feeding the running backs the ball. I didn't see enough running the ball yesterday. It's like Doug Peterson is becoming Chip Kelly 2.0. If y'all notice, the close games that we lose are the games that our quarterback puts up more than 45 passes a game. When you use the pass too much, it normally bites you inside the butt. The Philadelphia Eagles do not control the clock like they used to control the clock. We don't move the chains like we used to move the chains because 45 to 50 passes a game is entirely too much. When is Doug Peterson going to realize that we cannot win a football game throwing the ball around like that? Even Andy Reid is feeding his running back the ball. So, with that being said, I gave a D for that. 0.5 was wide receiver catching the ball. I gave the Eagles receiving core a C. I don't know what happened to Nelson Aguilar. Is he out there on the field? Yesterday, Alshon Jeffrey, I understand you're coming back. This is your second game. It's going to take you 2 to 3 games just to get your feet under you. Zach Ertz showed up again yesterday. Dallas Goedert, they didn't get him the ball enough. We took a deep pass yesterday, but we went away from it. The receivers, Alshon Jeffrey Rhodes is not a great cover cornerback like those idiots, them ex-Dallas Cowboys guys was trying to say. He got away with 10, 15 yards down the field with his hands constantly draped on Alshon Jeffries. So, we can't complain about the referees, but fair is fair. A lot of the shots on Carson Wentz, after he's got rid of the ball, a lot of quarterbacks in the league is getting those calls. Kirk Cousins got that call yesterday. When is it going to be enough? Doug, you calling a crappy game. Show some energy. Pull the referee to the side. Tell him that, you let my quarterback, if you're going to call that on the other quarterback, call it for my quarterback. But I can't complain. I did see my team come out and play a sloppy game yesterday. When you start slow, you end slow. There's nothing. Teams are actually game planning for the Philadelphia Eagles the best way they could. And we got to get used to getting hit with our team's best blows. Jalen Mills, we ain't going to talk about you this week, brother. Okay, running back blocking, that's a straight D. That was 0.6. 0.7 was coaching making the right adjustments. I gave Jim Schwartz, I gave Doug Peterson a F yesterday. I didn't see no kind of adjustments. I see them try to stick to a game plan that they drew up, both of them on offense and defense. That didn't work. So let's dive into the stats from yesterday. Minnesota Vikings and Philadelphia Eagles game. Minnesota passing. Kirk Cousins, 30 for 37 for 301 yards, 8.1 average, 1 touchdown, 0 INTs, 1 sack, 1 for 3 yards loss. His quarterback rating yesterday was 72.2. Not bad for a former Washington Redskin that used to carving up the Eagles, but yesterday he didn't make no crucial mistakes. Normally he throws INTs, but like I said, he has weapons. This Philadelphia Eagles team is lacking in weapons. Weapons that can make Carson Wentz more effective than what he is. But even if we had those weapons, that everybody want to go out and get Le'Veon Bell or go out and get another receiver, if you don't have time inside the pocket, there's no way in the world that you can hit those weapons. So let's dive into Carson Wentz passing stats yesterday for the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz was 24 for 35 for 311 yards, 8.9 average, 2 touchdowns, 0 INTs, 3 sacks, 28 yards lost. He had a quarterback rating of 56.1. Wow. We have to do better. We just got to put Carson Wentz in the right plays and circumstances so he can get this team down the field. The Eagles moved the ball up and down the field against a good Minnesota Viking defense yesterday with a banged-up secondary that was missing a cornerback and one of their safeties yesterday, and we did not capitalize on that. Le'Veon, Minnesota rushing. Latavius Murray, 11 carries for 42 yards. 3.8 average, 0 touchdown, longest run 12 yards. Stephon Diggs, 2 carries for 25 yards, 12.5 average, 0 touchdown, 20 yards was his longest. Rock Thomas, 4 rushes for 8 yards, 2.0 average, 0 touchdown, 6 yards was his longest. Michael Boone, 1 carry, 1 yard, 1.0 average, 0 touchdowns, longest 1 yard. Kirk Cousins, 5 carries for 1 yard, 0.2 average, 0 touchdowns, and 3 yards was his longest. Team overall, they was 23 for 77 yards, 3.1, 0 touchdowns, 20 yards was their longest. Philadelphia pass rushing. JSI, 8 carries for 29 yards, 3.6 average, 0 touchdown, longest run, 9 yards. Wendell Smallwoods, 3 carries for 27 yards, 9.0 average, 0 touchdowns, 13 was his longest. Carson Wentz, 5 carries, 26 yards, 5.2, 0 touchdown, 11 yards was his longest. Josh Adams, 1 carry, -1, -1, 0 touchdowns, -1. 17 carries for 81 yards, 4.8 average, 13 yard was the longest, 0 touchdowns. With Jay Ajayi being out for the season, what are you going to do, Doug Peterson? What can we do for this Philadelphia Eagles rushing game? Darren Sproles, that was a bad sign. They should have signed Blunt back. And then they should have invested in a running back during the draft. It's starting to rear its end that we didn't do what we needed to do during the draft, and it's starting to play a hand into the season. You got Josh Adams. You have a big back on a roster like Blunt, but you're not. Yesterday, you give him a pitch play. He's a north and south runner. If you give the guy a head of steam, he will run somebody over for 1 yard. That's all he had to do was get 1 yard, and you pitch the ball to Josh Adams. I almost like to jump through my TV and choke Doug Peterson. I was like, what was that, Doug Peterson? Who on your coaching staff would call a dumb play like that? That guy is 6'2", 230, 235. Run him north and south. Run him straight up the gut. What are you doing? I'm trying to keep my composure because it was a tough loss yesterday. I figured that it was going to be an all-out dog fight, and we was going to win it at the end to pretty much knock Minnesota Vikings out of the playoff race. But we just gave them another nail. We just loosened another nail inside that coffin that they're going to make a playoff run. And I just hope that, that loss wasn't costly for us yesterday. All right, let's talk about receiving. Wasn't nothing very special for the Philadelphia Eagles, but for the Minnesota Vikings, they have 2 beasts. They had Adam Thielen, 7 receptions for 116 yards, 16.6 average, 1 touchdown, 68 yards was his longest. Jalen Mills targeted 10 times. Stephon Diggs, another beast. 10 receptions, 91 yards, 9.1 average, 0 touchdown, 25 was his longest. Jalen Mills, 11 targets. Kyle Rudolph, 5 receptions, 41 yards, 8.2, 0 touchdowns, 17 was his longest, 5 targets total. Laquan Treadwell, this guy had so much potential coming out of college, and he's pretty much a third or fourth target. I mean, a fourth target basically on his team, because Rudolph get more passes targeted to him than Laquan Treadwell. Big receiver. Outshine Jeffrey Frame. But it's just obvious, just because you went to a big time program, that don't equate that you're going to come to the NFL and tear up the league like you was tearing up in college. So he had 3 receptions, 21 yards, 7.0 average, 0 touchdown, 8 yards was his longest. He was targeted 2 times. C.J. Ham, 1 reception, 7 yards, 7.0 average, 0 touchdown, 8 yards was his longest, 2 targets. No, 1 target. I'm sorry about that. Rock Thomas, 1 reception, 6 yards, 6.0 average, 0 touchdown, 6 yards was his longest, 2 targets. David Morgan, 1 reception, 5 yards, 5.0 average, 0 touchdowns, 5 yard was his longest, targeted 1 time. As a team, they was 30 receptions for 301 yards, 10.0 average, 1 touchdown, 68 yards was the longest, and 36 targets. Not bad for Kirk Cousins. Not bad. Philadelphia Eagles receiving. Zach Ertz leading tight ends in receptions this year. This guy is the only thing that we got going for us in the passing game so far. Okay, we got 10 receptions for 110 yards, 11.0 average, 1 touchdown, 23 yards, 11 targets. Sheldon Gibson, 1 reception, 48 yards, 48.0 average, 0 touchdown, 48 yards, 1 target. 48 yards was his long. Sorry about that. Nelson Aguilar, 4 reception, 45 yard, 11.3, 0 target, 0 touchdowns, 20 yards was his longest. Four targets total. Wendell Smallwoods, 3 reception, 44 yards, 14.7, 1 touchdown, 23 yards was his longest, 4 targets. That one drop ball that Wendell Smallwood probably would have been a difference in scoring a touchdown inside the Minnesota red zone, where we had to settle for. I think we've settled for actually, I think we punted the ball right there. No, actually, we kicked the field goal out of that. Sorry about that. I had to think about that costly drop that he had yesterday, which would have so many missed chances yesterday. Alshon Jeffries, 2 receptions, 16 yards, 8.0. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading the wrong thing. Alshon Jeffrey, 2 receptions, 39 yards, 19.5, 0 touchdowns, 31 was his longest, and 8 targets. Wow. He only caught 2 passes yesterday. That means 6 were either thrown out of bounds or thrown to the ground. Woo! Dallas Goedert, 2 receptions, 16 yards, 8.0, 0 touchdown, 11 was his longest, 2 targets. Jay Ajayi, 1 reception, 5 yards, 5.0 average, 0 touchdowns, 5 yards was his longest, 1 target. Jordan Matthews, 1 reception, 4 yards, 4.0 average, 0 touchdowns. 4 was his longest, and 1 target. 24 receptions total as a team, 311 yards, 13.0 average, 2 touchdowns. 48 was the longest, and 32 targets. Ooh. A lot of missed opportunities yesterday. We seen them. We just see a team that's really, 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 really hurting right now. Really struggling in all phases of the game. I can't complain about it. I can just keep on cheering for my team, and hopefully they can clean up some of the mistakes. But it's up to those guys to show that they want to be winners again. It's up for me just to keep them in prayer, try to give keys to the games that we can capitalize on. Hopefully this week against the Giants is a much-needed blow that the Philadelphia Eagles need, even though the Giants have weapons with Odell Beckham. And we got to see what we need to do, because the Giants got an awesome running back from out of Penn State, and we got to contain them. We have to really dig down deep and play some great football, because if not, we're going to see a lot of Saquon Barkley next week. And if we can't slow down the running game, because Minnesota exploited some things about our front four. You can run straight up the middle on the Philadelphia Eagles now. Tim Jernigan is not there. So Sterling Shepard, another good, crafty receiver that had a pretty good. He had 2 good games against us last year. Odell Beckham, we'll see. That's if he decides to come and play the Cinderella. But let's dive back into the rest of the stats. Minnesota fumbles. Kirk Cousins, 1 fumble, 1 loss, 0 receptions. I don't know why they got that on there. Pat Eflin, 1 fumble, 0 losses. Lavelle Joseph, 0 fumbles, 0 losses, 1 recovery. Eric Kendricks, 0 fumbles, 0 losses, 1 recovery. Total 2 fumbles, 1 loss, 2 recovered. Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz, 1 lost fumble, 0 recoveries. Jay Ajayi, 1 lost fumble, 0 recoveries. Nigel Bradden, 0 fumbles, 0 losses, 1 recovery. They was 2 for 2 and 1 recovery. Yesterday, Minnesota played a basic game, played a lot of man-to-man coverage because they didn't fear a threat of somebody getting past them yesterday. And for some strange reason, I just had inside my mind, like, okay, you went one time to Shelton Gibson for 48 yards. You could have took more shots deep than what you did yesterday, Doug. Maybe if you would have loosened the defense up, you would have slowed the pass rush down if you ran the ball. At least ran the ball around 20 to 25 times. times. Why is it that Nick Foles runs a lot more RPOs than Carson Wentz? Or sometimes Nick Foles run a play action. Carson Wentz don't run any play actions, it seems like. We got to change our fundamentals. They got to really burn some hours late this week because it's a short week. Fans, our next game is Thursday night against the New York Giants. This game can make or break our season. 3-3 is a whole lot better than 2-4. Think about what I'm saying. Simple mathematics. As a Eagle fan, I want this team to do and achieve what they've been looking to achieve for years. But it's hard when you're watching a sloppy game being played, or you just watching Jalen Mills rather argue with receivers after he been burnt. It's not all Jalen, because there is no way in the world that it should be one single safety in the middle of the field for the Philadelphia Eagles. As bad as the coverage is on this team, why stick to a strategy that's not working for you? Jim Schwartz, I know you're a Super Bowl winning coach, but your defense might cost you your job this year. Any defensive coordinator in the league could make the simple adjustments. Why is it so hard for you? Why is it so hard for you to pull the trigger on players that's not playing well? But I understand. Because if you leave Rasul Douglas on the island, he's going to get burnt too. If Sidney Jones, I don't know if we can put him pretty much to the outside. It's obvious the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff is not comfortable inside his play. To put him out on a corner, on an island. He has the speed. Maybe he might be that fix. Maybe not. We'll see. I'm real anxious to see Thursday night what they formulate to come out here to try to get a W against the New York Giants after a disappointing loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, Anthony Barr. He has 6 total tackles, 5 solos, 0 sacks. Eric Kendricks, 6 solos, 4 solos. Andrew Sindego, 5 total, 5 solo. Michael Hughes, 5 totals, 5 solos. Lavelle Joseph, 5 total, 4 solos, 1 sack. Harrison Smith, 4 totals, 4 solos, 0 sacks. Xavier Rhodes, 3 total, 3 solos, 0 sacks. Stephen Weatherly, 2 total, 2 solo, 1 sack. Danielle Hunter, 2 total, 2 solo, 0 sacks. George Ayoke, 2 total, 2 solos, 0 sacks. Jaron Curse, 2 total, 2 solos, 0 sacks. Eric Wilson, 2 total, 2 solos, 0 sacks. Mackenzie Alexander, 1 total, 1 solo, 0 sacks. Jalen Holmes, 1 total, 1 solo, 0 sacks. Rock Thomas, 1 total, 1 solo, 0 sacks. Sheldon Richardson, excuse me there, 1 total, 0 solos, 0 sacks. Total of 48. Total of 48. 43 solos, 3 sacks. Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Hicks, 9 total, 7 solos, 0 sacks. Sidney Jones, 7 total, 7 solos, 0 sacks. Nigel Bradham, 7 total, 5 solos, 0 sacks. Malcolm Jenkins, 6 totals, 5 solos, 0 sacks. Ronald Darby, 4 total, 4 solos, 0 sacks. Jalen Mills, 4 total, 4 solos, 0 sacks. Avant Maddox, 4 totals, 4 solos, 0 sacks. Now, with that being said, that was your linebacker core, and that was your safeties, and that was your cornerbacks. They had actually more tackles than the defensive line. It's a major problem. Jim Schwartz, it's your scheme is not working. Anytime your linebackers and your cornerbacks and your safeties have more tackles than your defensive line, your scheme is not working. Your system is broke. Okay. Brandon Graham, 3 total, 3 solos, 1 sack. Chris Long, 2 total, 2 solos, 0 sacks. Michael Bennett, 1 total, 1 solo. Fletcher Cox, 1 total, 1 solo, 0 sacks. Ricky Lovato, 1 total, 1 solo. Jay Ajayi, 1 total, 1 solo. Trayvon Hester, 1 total, 1 solo. Camus Grugier Hill, 1 total, 1 solo, 0 sacks. As a team, they was 52 total for 47 solos and 1 sack. Kirk Cousins had all day to carve their secondary up yesterday. So, just by giving you, just diving into the tackles stats yesterday, as a fan, I understand why you're concerned. But they are things that can be fixed. They are adjustments that can be made. But you can't be stubborn to the fact and admit that this team has a problem. We got to clean up our play. We got to get back to Philadelphia Eagles football. We haven't seen the Philadelphia Eagles play a game this preseason or this 5-game season so far. It still look like we playing scrimmages during the summer. But hopefully our coaching staff will figure it out. Hopefully how we can work some magic, because with Jay Ajayi being lost, and we definitely need another receiver. I don't think we're going to go out and spend no money on a cornerback. We got some assets to trade. We got a decaying Michael Bennett contract. We have a Brandon Graham that's a tradable piece. The reason why I'm saying, I'm a Brandon Graham fan, but we're going to lose him to free agency next year, this off season. Trade, get something for him. Even if maybe you can broker a deal with the Raiders for something, for a receiver or a linebacker or a running back. Get something for him. Michael Bennett, a decaying contract. Get rid of him. If you unhappy about how many snaps you getting, get rid of him. What has he really done for the Philadelphia Eagles? We took a chance that thinking that his veteran presence will be something good for the locker room, and right now, I don't see that veteran presence that he's supposed to command. All right, neither one of the teams had an interceptions yesterday. Kick returns, Minnesota Vikings, no kick returns. Philadelphia Eagles, 4 kickoffs, 86 yards, 21.5, 21-yard average. Long punts. Michael Hughes, 1 punt, 13 yards, 13.0 average. Longest, 13 yards, 0 touchdown. Brandon Zelinstra, what a name. 1 for 9 yards, 9.0 average. 9-yard was his longest. 2 punt returns for 22 yards, 11.0 average, 13 yards on both punt returns. Philadelphia Eagles had no punt returns yesterday. You want to know why? They couldn't get the Minnesota Vikings off the football field. Dan Belly, stinking ex-Dallas Cowboy, kicked the game-winning field goal off of the bogus calls at the end of the game. He was 3 for 5, 60%. 52 was his longest. 2 for 2 on extra points, 11 points total. Jake Elliott, 2 for 2 on field goals, 100%. 30 yards was his longest. 1 for 1 on extra points. He had a total of 7 points yesterday. Excuse me. Sinus is kicking in a little bit. Weather changing. Seasonal allergy sufferer. Minnesota punting. Matt Wild, 2 punts for 78 yards, 3.9, 0 touchbacks, in the 20 0 times. 43 yards was his longest. Philadelphia Eagles punting. Cameron Johnston, 4 for 187 yards, 46.8, 0 touchbacks. 2 times in the 20, 57 yards was his longest. Okay. Right now, we have the Washington Redskins with a 2-point, with 2 wins, 1 loss. They lead in the division. Next behind them, you got the Dallas Cowboys. That's technically a half a game over us, and really a half a game over us in the standings because they beat the New York Giants. The Dallas Cowboys are 2 wins, 3 losses. The Philadelphia Eagles are 2 wins and 3 losses. The New York Giants is 1 and 4. So the strategy is simple. If you win the NFC East, you make the playoffs. With a 10-6 record, that means that you have to go 8-3 over the next couple of games. But even if you go 9-2, might not still get you a home field game inside the NFC conference because the Rams is playing excellent football. Let's go and look at the standings overall and see where teams are at. Bear with me. Okay. So I just gave you the NFC East standings now. So the Chicago Bears are 3-1. Green Bay Packers are 2-2. Minnesota Vikings are 2-2. Detroit Lions is 2-3. The NFC South, the Saints are 3-1. Carolina is 3-1. Tampa Bay is 2-2. Atlanta Falcons 1-4. Los Angeles Rams 5-0. Seattle Seahawks 2-3. Arizona Cardinals 1-4. San Francisco 49ers 1-4. The key is winning the NFC East. I don't think that we honestly going to host a playoff game if we make the playoffs. But we definitely got a chance if we could just maintain our composure, come out and start smacking some teams in the mouth, giving them our best shots, eliminating the mistakes, stop leading the league in penalties, and just play that Philadelphia Eagle brand of football that we used to seeing. Can't cry about referees with the calls. They're going to do what they want to do. Last year, we didn't get no calls. So this year, we weren't expecting to get too many calls. I just hope that and pray that, this team can do some deep soul searching and understand, are they hungry or they just going to let the season slip from under them, not give their best shot. Football is a game of passion. It's a game of heart. And if you're not playing football with heart or the passion of loving the game of football, then you play a sloppy game on the field. Each Philadelphia Eagle player has to dig down deep. Maybe Fletcher Cox grabbing Jalen Mills yesterday, telling him, look, man, you just got beat and you're trash talking. Get off the field. Maybe that'll set a fire under this team. I don't know what we're going to do about our running back situation. We weren't utilizing them really anyway. But J.I. out for the season, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast. Learned that about 30 to 40 minutes before I start to film this podcast show. This team got to play like warriors now. They got to get the heart. They got to get the desire to want to go out there and show teams that they still a team to be respected in the NFL. Our coaching staffs have to put better game plans together. They got to get players in the game. You take Nelson Aguilar out of a spot that he shined in. You sign a slot receiver, Jordan Matthews, that takes snaps away from Nelson Aguilar in the slot. We got to figure this out. Doug Peterson, Jim Schwartz, you got to figure it out. That offensive coordinator, you got to figure it out. Howie, hopefully you can work some magic in the trade. You got Bell out there, even though I don't think we would have to move some assets in order to cover the salary that he's from his contract. Maybe we can go out and get a receiver. A lot of people dangling receivers out there. The Miami Dolphins reports are that they're trying to trade Kenny Stills, which is a burner receiver. Just not being utilized down there. So even if we go out there and we can get somebody like a Kenny Stills, maybe he's exactly what we need, so we can move Nelson Aguilar back to his position in a slot full time. But we also gonna have to go out there and sign another running back. But I don't think that we need to sign another running back if we run Josh Adams north and south. If you just run this guy through the holes and let him pound the defenses out, weaken the defensive line, take some of that pressure off Carson Wentz, and I mean the sky's the limit for this offense. It's so much that we can exploit on defenses if you come up with the right game plan. To me, I'm a Madden player. I have a strategy. I know what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it after I see the first offensive possession from my opponent. If I see that he's not a great defensive player, I'm going to take chances. If I see that you calling man-to-man, and I know that the team you're playing with is not a great man-to-man team or not a great zone playing team, I'm going to exploit it. It's all a part of the game. Football is a strategy. Doug Peterson, Jim Schwartz, please come up with a strategy that's going to win us some games. If not, it's going to be a long season. Lord have mercy, it's going to be a long season. You know, I want to see these Philadelphia Eagles fly. I want to see them fly. It's been a long time since we had this buzz. It's been a long time since we've been the talk of the league. You know, we got that first one. I'm not satisfied with that. That Philadelphia Eagles team for this 2018 season shouldn't be satisfied with just that one. Carson Wentz is trying to play like he wanted his opportunity to play in the Super Bowl. I think y'all need to dig down deep and give him that opportunity. Last year, he was leading the team somewhere. He got him 3/4 of a way there. He couldn't close the deal out. Nick Foles did that for us. But 75% of that was Carson Wentz. Probably 80%, to be honest. Let's capture that fire back. Let's capture that passion back. Let's get back to quality Eagle football. Let's clean up some of the mistakes. I'm not saying eliminate all the mistakes, but I'm just asking. Just play a little bit more with a little bit more passion and a little bit more control. Sky's the limit for this team. Okay. Y'all know each and every week I get on, I talk a little bit about what's the beat that's going on around the country. Over the weekend, the Republicans got they man Kavanaugh, Judge Kavanaugh, to the Supreme Court. We're gonna see what changes that some key things are coming up. Such as minorities' rights to vote, things that's been stripped down or already by our Supreme Court. They're claiming that things don't need to be enforced like they were before. But it was some people who died marching. It was some people who got beat marching. It was some people who got hurt in the process to try to earn that right to vote. And taking things away from the people or trying to limit people or oppress votes, that's not right. It's already an unfair playing field for minorities out here. With that being said, America, that's all we as citizens can do is pray for you. But there are countries around the world that's starting to have some real envy against us. I have a son. I have grandsons. I have little cousins. I have a lot of male that's inside my family. I don't want to see them fighting a war for a country who really don't respect us. I'm just being honest. I'm not trying to be harsh or anything, but this is how I feel inside my heart. This is what God told me to tell y'all. I love this country, but I can't love this country too much if I'm not feeling like I'm really a citizen inside this country. I work, I pay taxes. I'm not a criminal. I have a say. I can think for myself. I don't need no old senators and congressmen and Supreme Court justices and a president telling me how I should think. I know the difference between right and wrong. I know the do's and don'ts of life. I believe in a higher power. that I have to answer to by myself. So, God, I thank you for making me the man that I am. So, this time that I'd like to close out the show with a prayer. Heavenly Father, Lord, we love you. Lord, we thank you. Lord, I pray for the Philadelphia Eagles. I pray that you just help them, you just guide them, you just get them healed up, Father, that you somehow let them recapture what they used to have. You mend their bodies, you mend their minds, you give them a clean slate. I pray for their opponents. I pray for the other teams in the NFL who players are going through injuries. I just pray that you help them, Father. You lift them, Father, and you heal them and you mend them. Father, I pray for One Team Bird Nation. I pray for the brothers and sisters that's a part of the One Team Bird Nation. I pray that you help them, help their families, help their children, help their finances, help them to make good decisions, help them to be pulled to you, to know that you are worthy to be praised, Father. And I just hope that people don't blow this opportunity this November when the polls open up. Father, we need to vote. We need to vote some leadership. I'm not telling people to vote Republican. I'm not telling people to vote Democrat. But vote for that candidate, Father, that has the people's best interests at heart. Because the people is what this country is made about. It's not made for the upper class. It's not made for the middle class. It's not made for the poor. It's made for the citizens of this country. Our leadership need to listen to the people. Stop making these ill-advised decisions for us before it costs us. In Jesus Christ's name, I pray. Amen. Well, things are getting a little bit easier doing these podcasts. I need to hurry up and get a guest on here. Sometimes it just slipped my mind, just going through, working 6 days a week and coming home and trying to clear my mind and, doing the family thing. I have a wife and 4 kids. I got 1 grown and married already. But I'm just thankful that you guys give me the opportunity to come on here to do a podcast show for you guys. This was something new for me. My brother Michael Richardson and his partner Thomas Waters, they last year they introduced me to a podcast internet radio show that they do. Y'all need to check that out if y'all get time. I'll start try to post. Well, it's more of a political thing, so if anybody that wants to be added into there, just put your name on there, and I'll make sure that y'all get plugged into their show, which is called A Day in the Life of Men. It's a show that uplifts men, minority men, but it ain't just for minority men. We talk about issues of men on the show. Michael Richardson, my brother, and his partner Thomas Waters. Thomas Waters is an elder, and my brother Michael is a minister. And they do their research. They pray about the topics that they're going to talk about on their podcast show, and they touching lives. Their audience is growing. They do Facebook Live which I can't figure out why my mic won't interface with Facebook. But I'm learning, I'm growing, and I thank you guys for the opportunity of just giving me this microphone, this video camera, to talk about Philadelphia Eagles football. It's a passion for me. You know, I grew up inside the city of Philadelphia. I love the Philadelphia Eagles, the Philadelphia Sixers, Philadelphia Flyers, Philadelphia Phillies, the Philadelphia Union. I watch a lot of things. I'm pretty much a 4 for 4 or 5 for 5 guy. If they on TV, I'm trying to check it out. Also, too, probably next Saturday, I will be doing my first internet podcast radio show. I haven't really figured out a name for the show yet. I might go with the Philadelphia Sports Experience. That's also too on a religious platform. You know, religious people need to talk sports too. You know, we love sports just like the people who don't know God, or the ones that's not looking for God. But hopefully, my voice can touch somebody, and somebody will make a decision to turn their life over to Jesus Christ, because the Bible say every knee shall bow when them trumpets sound, and you know it's only one way that you can get to the Father, and that's by Jesus Christ. He died for you. The blood washed you. That's a powerful statement, and we as people need to know, and we as people need to let sin not corrupt us. We should have love for our neighbors, because Jesus Christ said loving our neighbors is something that we need to do. I don't want to preach to y'all, but you know, I have a calling on my life, but I got to clean up some things about me, and hopefully God will use me like He's calling me to be used. So, with that being said, thank y'all for checking out the X's and O podcast show, week 5. Short week this week. I don't know whether or not I'm going to do the podcast show this Friday after the Giants and Eagles game or Saturday. So, have patience, because it is a short week. And, you know, it's hard sitting here for 45 minutes to an hour trying to keep you guys entertained with a podcast show, especially doing it by yourself. But God working on me, God using me. So thank y'all. Love y'all. Have a good night. Thank y'all for tuning in to the X's and O podcast show.